it's Allie, and today I'm going to be talking about two books that I have read. Now, I read these a little while ago because I just thought they looked really fun, and they were light and romancy, and who doesn't love those? The first one is called Born to be Wild, and it is by Janelle Denison. And the second one is The Wild Side by Janelle Denison. Now, these books go together. They follow two of the Wilde brothers, Joel Wilde in Born to be Wild and Scott Wilde in The Wild Side. Though they are about the same family of characters, they're pretty different in the way they're written and how the characters act, because Joel is a ex-Marine trained to be a security specialist, and after his tour in the Marines, he puts together a security force, kind of like ADT, where they just go around and help people stay safe, and he gets contacted by one of the men he used to serve with, and that man has a gambling problem, and he comes to Joel because he owes a bunch of money to a bunch of thugs, and there's just a bunch of trouble following him, as happens when you get way into gambling like he did. And he asks Joel to look after his sister named Laura. Now, Joel agrees because his job is to keep people safe, and that's just who he is, and he can't ever turn down an opportunity to help someone stay safe, especially because it's this particular man who's asked him to do a favor. And they go on this, they have to hide away from the trouble following Laura's brother, and in that time, Joel falls in love with Laura, because that's just what you would expect is going to happen. And Laura has to realize that he does have demons, because everyone who's been overseas in the army, in the Marines, and whatever, has some demons come home with them. And it's just a really good book. I would suggest 16 would be the cut-off age for this book, and that's pushing it a little bit. I would cap it at 18, because there are some sexual scenes in this, and I mean, as you can imagine. But if you are 16 or 17 and you are pretty mature for your age, which is the case for a lot of people, then go ahead and start reading this book. But I would say put a mark of 18 on it. But all in all, it's a pretty good book for about anybody. If you like romance, if you like adventure, if you like a little bit of danger, then that's a book for you. And the next one, Wild Side, is about Scott Wilde, brother of Joel Wilde, as I said before, and this follows him and Ashley St. Clair. Ashley is the typical rich girl. Her family is loaded, and she's just a little richy princess girl. St. Clairs are a hotel family. They own hotels around the country, and she's in the hotel business with her parents, and she starts to not feel like she wants to do that anymore, because it's just really stressful, and she's getting older, and she doesn't have a man, and she doesn't have a family, and her sister does, and that kind of really makes her want that. After a while, she goes out, because she never goes out. She's a little uppity, stiff, kind of, not a prudish girl, but kind of prudish. She never really goes out, because if her name gets in the headlines, then it's just a big mess for her family and the chain of hotels. But she goes out one night and she meets Scott at a bar. Scott Wilde is in his family's construction business, and he is in the hotel to relay tile. He kind of has to oversee the construction process, and she doesn't really want to do that, because the moment she sees Scott, she kind of thinks that she wants to bed him, for lack of a better term. He's sexy, and again, like the other one, I put cap of 18 on it because there are some sexual scenes in it, and I don't want to tell anybody to just pick this up and start reading if you don't think you can handle that, or if you're not old enough to handle that. So 17, 18 is, I think, the okay age for this. It is a really good book, and it's just, it's so much different from Born to be Wild, because Joel is more of the army type, where he's just really rigid and he's really manly, and he doesn't show much of his emotion like Scott does, because Scott is just in the construction business and he's never been in an army situation and he's never had to deal with anything like that. He just works with his family in construction, and he is just much better at opening up and letting himself go. And so throughout this book, he just loves Ashley St. Clair, and he tries to make her realize that loving someone who's not from her background, who's not rich, who's not snobby as she is, isn't really a bad thing. It isn't gonna ruin her entire life and ruin her image and all that she is worried about. And she finally realizes that maybe this construction guy is right, and maybe it's not so bad to love someone like that. And so she kind of goes on this journey of growing up a little bit, even though she is technically grown up. Definitely read both of these. I think there are more of these. There might be one or two more. There are more Wilde brothers that she goes through and puts a story with, and I really want to get them because I love the Wilde brothers, and they're just, even with some of the problems that they do have, which everyone does, they are really quite lovable, and it's just, they're just two guys that are really good guys. You just have to kind of chip away at the surface a little bit. So I would definitely check out these two books. They are just really good, and as you can see, the stickers are still on here when I got them, which really drives me nuts, but I don't want to try to get them off too roughly because I don't want to damage the book or anything, so they just kind of sit there and get on my nerves, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way. Stickers just get on my nerves. But definitely check both of these out. They are guaranteed to make you feel good, but cap at 17 or 18, or if you're really mature for 16, that's pushing it a little bit for me, but definitely go check this out, both of these and the other ones. There are more by her that aren't the Wilde brothers, but the Wilde brothers are the only ones that I know very well, and I love them both. So definitely check these two out. Wilde, Side and Born to be Wild by Janelle Denison.